Hey everybody, it's Blair Johnson welcoming you in to another episode of Badass Records Podcast. My guest this week is Jamie Searle, a.k.a. J. Jerome Music on Instagram. His other handles are Chromatic Contact, M Bands KC, and Westport Bowery. You can find Jamie's music on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, or wherever else you stream. Westportbowery.com for your info regarding stage production and entertainment, plus great food service and drinks in Westport. Badass Records airs Thursdays. You can find it on YouTube or where you stream. All of it lives on the site, which is badassrecordspodcast.com. Holler at me at badassrecordspodcast@gmail.com and keep tabs with the thing via the social platforms, Twitter and Instagram. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope you enjoy the show. Well, thank you very much, Jamie Searle, right? Westport Bowery. So 817 Westport Road, the basement of the flea market.
Not the basement.
Not the basement.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like a event space, in the back of it. I'd say more the back of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I have been back in KC for 25 years. I haven't been in the flea market in a little while, but I definitely went there for burgers.
Yeah.
A handful of times, and I can kind of, it's been a minute since I've been in there, but I can kind of picture the ordering process and then the dining room, and then you get called when your stuff's ready, and then there's like this flea market.
Used to be.
Correct,
yeah.
All that behind that cage or whatever is gone?
That's all gone. Yeah.
Okay. And what's in its place?
Arcade games right now. And so what was flea market is now the event spaces that I run. Westport Bowery being one of them, the Sparkle Room, and the Party Room.
Okay. And how long has this been a thing?
October 2021.
Okay. So just turned 4?
Yeah. Just turned
3.
Yeah.
Okay. So multiple rooms for live band, DJs, hip hop, theater, private parties. Westportbowery.com is the website. Why did they want to remodel? And how did the connection happen?
It was post-COVID, just post-COVID. Like people were still, just not sure of what to do.
Yeah.
I had partnered with somebody pre-COVID, and then literally January of 2020. I was like, yeah, I'll bring in lights and everything else, and kind of boost this production up. So it's basically immediately after I installed the lights, COVID hit hardcore and everything was shut down.
Yeah.
So everything became dormant. And then by the time, things started to open up a little bit, the guy that I was had partnered up with, he was like, I'm not interested in doing, booking or anything anymore. And I was like, that was kind of
guy you had partnered up with at the flea market. Okay.
Yeah. It was at what it was called the Buffalo Room before.
Okay, gotcha.
Right? And then so he didn't want to do that anymore or whatever. So I went to basically sell the lights I had to the owner of the flea market. I was like, hey, I'd keep all this stuff if I were you. It's definitely gonna up the price of the room and the allure of it. And he was like, I just want you to run everything, And so he had to really talk me into it big time. I was not having it, at first.
I would like to have you run it versus what the agreement was before was different. How?
Well, again, I was trying to just like, up the production value and basically do live recording. That was my whole what I wanted to do with the Buffalo Room is just like lighting design, production kind of
Okay.
things, stage production. So I can offer that, to people as like an add-on, for their performances,
Oh,
live music recording, like all of
okay.
that kind of stuff, right?
So you would arrange that with artists instead of
Mm-hmm.
the establishment?
Yeah, correct. Because
Okay.
they run separately, in the way of, basically the flea market, sells their food and beverage. That's how they make their money.
Right.
It's a giant building, right? And so it's like, hey, we need more people to buy burgers and beer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers
Yeah,
your
yeah.
question.
So he had to talk you into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I had never done anything like this before at all.
your lane is production, and now it's like event.
My lane has always been music production.
Okay.
So that's I came up playing music.
Okay.
I only got into all of the tech and everything else because I just realized it was more, it's just an important part of a performance.
Yeah.
So I I was I not had to be dragged, but I'm not, a techie person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah.
I'm not, and so I had like initial resistances.
Sure.
But it's like it's just the demand. It's like, hey, I want to be able to write more and record more. Therefore, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to be able to make more amazing performances, and therefore this has to be a requirement.
Sure.
Do I love social media and all of that? No, but I have to because I want to make my life, in my dream world, more of a reality. That's it.
So I'm a little embarrassed to ask this, but now
don't be.
This you came up in music. I suppose this means that you have your own social media accounts that you.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even think to search you. Otherwise, I would have made some notes.
It's all good.
Well, let's start.
Now you can just you just don't even worry about it.
You brought me gifts.
I did, yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
So, chakra-centric. Chakra-centric. Sorry.
Yeah.
Music to awaken.
Yeah, this is like I was hired to do this chakra series by City in Motion, and it's a dance troupe. Yeah,
here?
in Kansas City.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So that sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's like modern dance.
Okay.
And so they were doing this whole series on the chakras.
Cool.
So that's what that is.
And Amaji Vedra.
That's just what I put on the album or whatever to sell.
That's not a real person?
No.
Okay. And so who is the artwork of?
That's my wife.
It is?
Uh-huh.
Okay. How long have you guys been married?
God, we're almost 10 years.
Okay.
So we just passed 9. Yeah,
And,
October 10th.
And how did you come up with this name?
It's just fun. I don't know.
Am I saying it right? Amaji Vedra? It's just fun?
I mean, like, Amaji's like Jamie, kind of.
There you go.
Right?
Gotcha.
And,
okay.
And Vedra just works with the chakra-centric thing.
Oh, you finished up your verbiage with namaste. That's nice.
Exactly. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
I have a stocking cap that says it right here, and I'm new at this job that I have, and I wear it often, and several people are like,
yeah.
One person said, "What is that?" And I said, "It's a Hindu like greeting and see you later." And they said, "Oh, like aloha?" And I said, "Does aloha get used for goodbye also? I thought it was just hello."
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing, about all of this is, I feel like I'm a way different like music creator than a lot of people.
Sure.
Because I just don't have an attachment to anything.
Okay.
I'm not like, that's me, my persona. That is, you know what I
Sure.
mean? I won't talk about, like, I love all kinds of music, and I don't gravitate in a kind of like cultural way to anything.
Oh.
I don't care.
Okay.
I just want good tunes.
Hell yeah.
That's all I care about is good tunes.
How'd you guys meet?
My wife and I,
Yeah.
because through music actually.
Okay.
Actually through that record.
This one right here?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, the vinyl. Yep.
So my brothers and sisters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
180. I'm not.
You're fine.
180 gram is what folks that are really into vinyl seek out,
Yeah.
right? So this is eye candy for some
Exactly.
folks.
Yeah.
And this is from, we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 tracks. Mm-hmm. And it came out when?
2014, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Thank you. Is this you? There's
Galadriel Thompson. She had made an image, and I just really liked it, and so I just wanted something abstract.
I know that first name?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's a great first name, though.
It is.
Galadriel.
And then what do we have here?
Same project, but like it had evolved and everything else, and so that's a CD like more of like that.
Folsom Prison.
Yeah, it's a completely it's in 9/8. It's an E minor. It's totally brass. It sounds like Queens of the Stone Age and Aretha Franklin.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not a combo I would have put together on my own. But it sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's a totally reimagined thing, melody and everything else.
I feel like I mean, looking through this is cool, but I'm gonna have to.
Oh, you're fine, dude.
Dig into it to.
No, it's all good.
Pick up on the vibe. So okay, Westport Bowery is the, for lack of a better phrase, 9 to 5 bill-paying regular job.
One of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of everything. I'm constantly doing a lot of different things.
Sure.
So it's like is it my it's like a third of my income.
Okay.
If you want to just
sure.
Be like
yeah.
You know what I mean.
Excuse me.
But music production, doing stuff for like commercial stuff as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So where does that live online?
All over the place.
Okay.
Spotify, a bunch of artists. Yeah.
Well, what are some handles or a website or?
I mean, as far as like my like personal Instagram is J Jerome Music.
J Jerome Music. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But
and what kind of content do you put up there?
Just all the stuff that I do. I mean, like I do. Like there's Bowery stuff. There's a bunch of me doing like production work. Making music,
sitting
making
with gear
art.
And
yeah, some of it. I try to stay away from knobs, as much as like that kind of thing. That's not really. I want to, I basically want to do things and talk about things that people are not talking about.
Okay.
In
okay.
general.
All right.
Yeah. But like, basically, I'm obsessed with craft. I really am.
Cool.
And so that's the kind of thing I really like to talk about. Is not only just like, the nature of craft, how you get to point A, from A to B or whatever else, yeah, that's what I'm obsessed with.
Okay, so J Jerome Music is your stuff.
My Instagram, and then also you can find. I'm on TikTok and blah
sure.
blah blah.
Okay.
Yeah. J Jerome Chromatic. Chromatic Contact. That's my company, production company.
Cool. Mm-hmm. So that then has a website or a means for
ChromaticContact.com
for folks to hire you, mm-hmm. right? Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Chromatic
for like I said, lighting design, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Like all kinds of audio engineering, production, etc.
Folks that are recording a record, would mm-hmm. they have you come produce our stuff? That kind of thing too.
Yeah. I mean, I've done like many records. Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So you born and raised in KC or?
Pretty much raised. I came from like way western Kansas, so that's where all my roots are. Like super rural, western Kansas.
Gotcha.
And then moved up here when I was 8 with my mom.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Siblings?
Nope, only.
And then, any idea how mom and dad met?
No, I mean, my father's never been in my life.
Okay.
It's a big old question mark, you know.
Today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, I know his name or whatever else, but I've only had like one very brief like phone call with him when when I was 18.
That you instigated?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew how to get him on the horn?
Well, yeah, I finally asked my mom when I was 16 what his name was, and so because I knew that it was a sore subject,
For her.
I think for everybody.
For everybody.
I think the things that are not named in general in society
Well said.
and everything are the painful things. And so when you are aware of that which is not named, Voldemort, you know that's an issue.
Okay.
To contend with.
So you ask his name at 16. Is there, in hindsight, is there a way to sort of encapsulate feelings or thoughts you might have had up until the moment that you verbalized that? Like that
very much so.
That unnamed thing is,
yeah,
it can be
it was
very
huge.
big. Okay.
And it was a giant issue because I knew that I didn't want to upset her. I didn't want to, or to seem ungrateful. I think that is
absolutely
another issue.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I mean, it's such a deep primal question if you don't have, this thing that everybody else has, or that you're around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's, and things are upon cycles. So it's like every Father's Day when people, every Christmas, and you see like this kind of picture, and then you know that you do not match
I'm
a
different.
picture. Yeah, exactly. And I was in many, many different ways.
Okay.
So it was so anyways, like I said, it was a lot of, there's pain and there's all these, this kind of thing of like I got to protect my mom, but I'm a 5-year-old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's that feeling
where
it's like which is out of alignment to how
1,000%.
How could you?
Yeah.
So
was he civil? Was he tender? Was he dismissive?
He was confused, and he was
like, why are you calling me confused?
Yeah, like he had no idea, he had no recollection of her, like all of these different things. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was that kind of totally blindsided
and
thing.
I'm not. I only want to
You're
pry.
fine,
Okay.
dude.
Okay. I don't want to be.
That's
anyway.
fine.
Okay. Huh.
It's all good. It's just like, I mean, this is like I'm fine with my life. I love my life.
Great.
You know what I mean?
I love to hear you say that.
And there's nothing that's like and I'm glad. At this point I'm really happy for these experiences.
Sure.
Yeah. I like how I see the world.
Yes.
And I would not see it if it were not for all of these
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So I honor all of it. It's not a bad or thing or whatever. It's emotions to understand.
Yeah.
I've
said this a bunch of times on here, but I keep repeating it because it's still pretty fresh, and the notion is somewhere along the journey to getting this alive and breathing. I wasn't aware in real time, but I sort of had this experience or epiphany where I could sort of all of a sudden look over here and see that the events of my life were unpacked and sort of on display.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very helpful to realize that instead of feeling like bummed about a particular detail or it's not fair or I wish X would have been whatever, it was kind of like, oh, okay. And how that translates to everyday life is sort of let's adjust the way that you move about the world and see things and think things and feel things. And that's going to take the rest of my time here in some sense and maybe beyond. But it was, it relieved some sense of burden
Yeah.
or ups. I don't know. It was
understand.
calming
Yeah, dude.
to be like, you know what, like you're not different.
Yeah.
Folks are just going through stuff, and sometimes things look similar, and sometimes things are
Exactly.
as opposites. Anyway,
Yeah.
so mom sounds pretty rad.
Yeah, my mom's awesome. She's she taught me, as well as my grandfather, really how to be an artist.
Okay.
In the way that
She's got art in her fabric too.
Yeah, I mean, but it's deeper than like it's like a painter. It's the way you are.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
is.
No, I feel you.
And so it's understanding details. It's knowing that that whatever I do is a reflection of me.
Yeah,
And so uh, my grandfather, just he always did things really well. And it's because he's just like I'm going to do as like really like the best I can
at
at everything.
wow.
At everything. And so my mom's done stained glass, and she's done like photography, and
Cool.
I mean like all kinds of like reworked old furniture and sold
Nice.
it. So yeah, she would like people in like rural areas, there's like that kind of like they'll dismiss themselves a lot, in the way of like, oh, it's just, it's just this old
thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like there's just not there, and really what it is just a lack of pretension, which is great.
Sure.
There's a bunch of humility, like really, instilled in that culture. And so it's like, why make a big fuss out of myself?
Sure.
I'm just, doing what I do.
Little old me.
Little old me, But as someone who, like, was raised around it, and like whatever, if anyone else has, sees me as, either talented or whatever, a good person, that's magnifying them. You know what I mean? That's what I come from.
So you mentioned working on some stairs today. Did that skill come from mom and granddad, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was like he wasn't like necessarily like he was like he's like great at painting.
Okay.
Like really like, and again, like it all comes down to like an industrious, kind of aspect, of like, I have to paint this fence, I have to paint this house, but he would do it like, whoa. Same as her,
Huh.
So it wasn't like carpentry that was necessarily his thing,
But he's great at everything.
Exactly.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like whatever he chose to be like into.
I guess I'm going to build this house now.
Exactly.
Anybody want to help? No. All right.
And so and you just kind of get that faith too, because like you're watching people make things. So you see how grimy something was, and then you see what it becomes. And you constantly are just seeing that all the time, how long it takes.
Yeah.
That's always in the background, is like making.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, mom into music?
Yeah.
Did she
big
put on
time.
stuff to listen to when you
my
were little?
God, like and everything. She's like me. She doesn't really care about like, she's just into like, that's a good tune.
Right. Right.
And she would make mixtapes all the time, mellow out mixtapes, volume 1 through 5 she made. Old school.
Cassette.
Cassette.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, that's just for her, So, but I grew up listening to everything.
Okay.
Yeah, Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. My grandfather would vacuum to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's
great.
like, and then she loved Whitney Houston, and they were just very similar in that way, that it was just like, it was things are very visceral.
Gotcha.
Oh, that sounds great. That's delighting my ear.
Yeah.
That's obvious talent.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So they have, mom and grandpa have stuff that they listen to, or stuff that existed when you came into being.
Yeah.
You know, we sort of take that in, and then at some point begin down the path of our own tastes. Is there an album that stands out, not necessarily from your list, that you first fell in love with, or borrowed, or bought with your own money that you can recall?
I remember Green Day Dookie.
No kidding.
Yeah, was one. There's like this, when I started to like really buy my own music, it was definitely like, of course I was like 11, 12, right? And so that, and I, it was definitely like an angsty, teenager, getting into like Ice Cube and like, anything that was just like anti-authority.
Yeah.
I was in it, and very much to the dismay, of my mom and everybody,
Did you guys exchange a couple words over a couple of tunes?
Oh, a lot, and she was right, I'll admit, like, there's a lot of things that were just like, see, that's the thing, is like, it becomes sometimes less about the actual music and more about like the, way it makes you feel a part of something.
Sure.
And so if you're feeling like a part of something destructive, well, maybe that's not a good thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not, especially if like you're really feeling self-destructive. Maybe more destruction is not what you need to be consuming.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But anyways, it was formative, and there was some, fun things and, experiences, learning music, in that era, of like, mid 90s, you know what I mean? So
there's I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a thing that says around the age, or maybe the exact age of 14, the stuff that you're listening to is sort of going to be a point of broadcast or a cornerstone for music for your whole life. But you say you like everything, you don't care, so do you think that you're if that's true, do you think you're an exception to it, or is there some reality in it for you?
Yeah, I'm not a sentimental person.
Oh, okay.
As much as I say, I maybe come across as like, oh, my mom, like, or whatever, like I'm just not much of a, I know why, I understand the function of being into maybe that music then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. So if your wife was sitting here on the couch and we asked her is Jamie a sentimental person, what would she say?
She'd say no.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Interesting. Not in any.
I'm a minimalist. I'm like, get rid of this stuff. I don't want to celebrate my birthday. That's how big it is. Like, I don't want to. I'm not like, and I hate it, but it's just like I don't even list my birthday on Facebook. I'm just not. I like what. In fact, I'm so unsentimental that I've studied calendars because I cannot stand some of the cyclical nature in society. I cannot stand it.
Keep going.
Well, I mean, it's just like I hate the holidays. Hate them.
Okay.
I hate the way they make people feel. I hate people, like they'll tell themselves every year because of the sentimental. Let's keep doing this thing. but you look at people. Look at them. They're like, they are stressed. They are frustrated. People are, you know what I'm saying?
The Monday
Uh-huh.
of Thanksgiving week,
Bro.
until January 2nd.
Bro.
I am grumpier than I like to admit.
Dude, everybody is.
And it's like...
And they'll say, oh, yeah, I'm great. The holidays. No, you're not. No, you're not. You want to because of It's a Wonderful Life is on, and you want to because,
Just, moments ago,
yeah,
an hour, whatever, my daughter and I finished, and we're coming back, and she's I'm so excited for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I said, which she says often, she and
Yeah.
her brother both.
For sure.
And I say, tell me about it. And she goes, it's not just the presents. I just really like the feeling of waking up on Christmas Day. And I was like, that I totally have,
Oh, yeah.
files that agree with that.
Yeah.
And I totally get it, but it is also like anything,
Yeah.
so fast.
It's so fast.
So yeah, that's sweet. She's, a teen, and, I'm struggling with our relationship right now because she doesn't need me. It feels like she doesn't need me for much beyond money and rides.
I understand. Yeah.
And I
yeah.
see her mom lives at the end of the block, and I see things are different between them. And
Yeah.
so just to have that sort of little bubbly moment
Yeah.
in the car, I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
But I'm the same way. I have 3 younger sisters. They all have multiple functions in and around the week of their birthday, and one of them, I think it's not off to say, she might even stretch it out for the month.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like it's my duty to act as a universal balance for that. So for a long, I was like, I don't care, please don't. And so then it becomes, well, you hate birthdays, and it's like, I don't actually.
Yeah.
I just don't want to make a big deal out of mine.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to do something for me for my birthday, don't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a Monday or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was thinking today, I was like, it should be that you're. It should be. Here, let's solve the world together.
taking notes. I got both pens.
So, I was thinking today, is like, really, your birthday should be Mother's Day,
Right.
right?
I mean, in a previous
In a
life,
grateful world.
yeah, in a previous life, I had a very small window where I would give my kid's mom. She's our firstborn. We had one other. So
Yeah.
when she was teeny tiny and it was her birthday,
Yeah.
do something nice for her, get her a gift,
Yeah.
whatever. But I hate the idea of me in this world in terms of the amount of energy and attention that today I was talking to a dude at work. I've known him for years outside of this job, and I said, the last time I saw you, you were getting ready to take some time off, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, how did that go? And he's like, well, there were 2 things, and I took off this one for blah, 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 but I also took off my birthday because I never work on my birthday. And I was like, don't make a throwing up in your mouth face right now. And he followed it up. He doubled down, he goes, because I don't want to. And I was just like,
Okay.
and I like this guy.
Yeah,
and
right, of
I was
course.
like, I'm
Yeah.
dying to just mask.
Oh, yeah, completely.
I'm like, of course, why? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I have little nuances like that. Like, nobody in my phone's name is capitalized.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Just because, as a nerd and a language and a writing lover, of course I recognize that we're proper nouns.
Yeah, yeah. I
But we don't mean shit.
Yeah.
We are 8 billion deep or whatever it is. As long as you're, I guess if you can prove that you're not leaving the world in a shittier state than you found it, then maybe I'll capitalize.
Yeah.
But I'll be dead before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
So what about live music as a young person? Concert memories?
Oh, man. No, I was, I went to this place, G Coffee, on my 16th birthday. And that was in Olathe. It was like a punk club, and that was,
What a name.
yeah, G-E-E.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
No comma.
No.
G coffee.
Yeah, just
Okay.
G coffee, and it was a total pit. It was like this, it's like 97, I would say, something like that.
Yeah.
And this place is just like an absolute pit.
Okay.
And saw some bands there, and it was like silly punk rock, all of the Descendants or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I jumped up and down and everything else, and, had that kind of like whatever experience, you know what I mean? Then the next one that comes to mind was on my 18th birthday, because my mom she was really strict. She did not want me.
I mean,
she was like, "You are listening to destructive things. You have been engaging in self-destructive activities, and it totally maps onto what I've been listening to. It's what I'm consuming, moods that I'm trying to associate with, an ego that I'm trying to build, all of these things that she does not recognize necessarily as her son."
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I said before, like, to an extent she was correct,
Right.
There's a lot of self-betrayal back then, And so as far as live music early on, there just wasn't much. She was just like, "I'll let you out of the house on your 16th birthday. I'll let you out on your 18th." So she got me tickets to Bob Dylan, on my 18th birthday, and I went with my friend Julie Kendall, and it's the first time I smoked weed at a concert. And totally was just like, had a great time. I was always like laughing at it. Was Phil Lesh was there.
R.I.P. in peace.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So he had opened up.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Dylan opened up, and then Phil Lesh was after.
Like Phil and Friends?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah,
What venue is this?
This is God. What was this? It's the
Sandstone?
Sandstone. That's what it was. Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. Yeah, and
did she get you these tickets because you were a Dylan fan and she knew it, or
no? She just knew that I wasn't even a big Dylan fan.
Okay.
She just knew that I wanted to go to a concert, and
she's like, "I'll choose the artist for you."
Yeah, and she was like,
you need a little guidance.
Yeah,
Here
or
we
something. Go. But she's not a Dylan fan.
Interesting.
Either. I just think that it was like, here's a concert happening around his birthday. It's rock and roll. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And but I went with my friend Julie Kendall. It was a great time.
Nice. So earlier, I think you said you came up with music, or like going all the way back to age 5 or some young age where
I was super always into it.
Okay.
Sang, break danced, did all of that.
Okay.
And then I finally picked up the guitar.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
What age?
13.
Okay.
Just going into 14. My friend Derek, that's why I chose Come As You, or Nirvana.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because he had just gotten an electric guitar, and I was spending the night at his house, and I was like, "Oh wow, you got a guitar, and like show me something or whatever." And then he was taking lessons.
Nice.
Played "Come As You Are," and I was like, and dude,
show me a better intro.
Tell you what, man. Yeah, it's so great,
I got goosebumps.
And I know it was an amazing, like, on the edge of your, you know what I mean, like, friend's bed, spending the night, being
I can
goobers.
see it. Yeah,
exactly. And he's like, showing me how, and that is all I did. I zoned out, and I knew the next day, I was like, I'm going to be a musician forever. That is it.
Wow.
I knew it. I had reached such a flow state, kind of like determination, sense of empowerment, like everything just clicked right there.
Huh.
And so the next day, I was like, I knew my mom, she had like an old Sears guitar at my grandparents'. And so I was like, hey, next time we're going to visit grandma and grandpa, I'm going to grab that guitar that you had, a nylon string, kind of thing.
It feels good, right? Nylon strings?
Yeah, hers was like, the action on it was ridiculous.
Huh.
So it was like, I had to really want it.
You got calluses quick?
I got calluses real quick. Yeah. And you know, I did that for like, you know, a year, and you know, I had no idea what I was, no training or anything
Sure.
else. I had to tune on the piano, so I was, you know, which pianos are always out of tune, so I'm sure I always was.
Have you ever been
know?
present for a piano tuning?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I have a dude that.
What's his name? Jeremy Neff?
Yes.
Boom.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my kids take piano lessons, and she's, you know, there's a lot of eye rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point I said years ago, like through 8th grade.
Yeah, that's nice.
So the eye rolling has become heavier for her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of this school year,
yeah,
you won't be forced to do it anymore. So all of this shit is the last of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So just chill.
Yeah, yeah.
And in fact, they had a recital Sunday, and we are on, I don't know, our 5th teacher.
Yeah.
And our 2nd teacher was like the most amazing woman. I mean, she was just so great. She's a flautist at her core.
Yeah, what's her name?
Mary Holshausen.
Oh God, it sounds real familiar.
Anyway,
yeah,
she we just loved her so in every sense of the word. She got a new job, which I think was a real good career move for her and her family, but I think it was more demanding time-wise than what she had been doing. So in order to make things work, she needed to cut something, and what was cut was her piano students.
Yeah.
She kept her flute students since that's her deal.
That's her thing, yeah.
But somewhere along the course of our relationship with her, I mean, she was at a facility, and we would go to her, and then COVID happened, and she would come to the house. It was the perfect
awesome.
day of the week.
That's great. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, she like the first I think we did it on Zoom, but she didn't need to hear our piano for more than a few seconds to be like.
Yeah,
and I was like, I was wondering.
Yeah, check some octaves.
So she gave me his contact.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's been over a couple times, but it is not a quick thing. There's a lot of patience and time to.
Took almost 3 hours sometimes, depending on how bad it is.
Yeah, and he is a fascinating dude.
He's great. Yeah, yeah.
In that.
I used to go to his coffee shop.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I didn't know he had a coffee shop.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I can feel like vibe-wise, like there's a lot of good person stuff in there, but he also, you know, I don't think he wants to bullshit a lot when he's here. He wants to get in, get a tune, and get the fuck out. Yeah, yeah. So if a air conditioning dude is here or a plumb, I'm talking to you the whole time. And they're probably like, if this dude would shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
So, but anyway,
and
I've talked to him about doing this, and he was like, absolutely, for sure. And then I think he just stays busy. And anyway, why the fuck are we talking about piano tuning?
I mentioned that's how I turned to tune my guitar.
Gotcha. So guitar is still your deal?
Primary. I do, keys and drums and like blah blah blah, all of that stuff,
And do you record your own stuff? And like you don't for you to, I hate to simplify this, but for you to complete a project, like you don't really need folks you can do it all.
Yeah, unless it's like, I really need like, like orchestration specifically, that needs to be, more of a rubato kind of live thing, then I'll notate it all out.
Okay. Did you say 2014? And does it live digitally somewhere?
Oh yeah.
In all the places?
All the places, yeah.
Just under Jamie Searle, or
that's under my brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So your collection of things that you have produced like that live somewhere too, or
there's. If like the full collection of everything that I've produced, I put under a Spotify playlist produced by J. Jerome.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Awesome. Well, again, I really appreciate you being here
Yeah, man.
and sharing a list with me. I usually just roll through them
Yeah, dude.
in release order.
Yeah, do your thing.
So 1965, Rubber Soul.
Mm-hmm.
6th of 14 for the Beatles, 14 tracks, 35 minutes. So short.
Yeah.
White Album and Sgt. Pepper's have made lists, but that's it. I think White Album's made 2, Sgt. Pepper's made 1, and no other Beatles records through 153 of these. So Rubber Soul is, I mean, for the, you know, the average Beatles fan or whatever, the smaller end of the spectrum, Sgt. Pepper's and White Album are accessible by name, right? Like folks know them. They might not know Revolver, Abbey Road, Rubber Soul.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that there's some fresh Beatles representation. What is your introduction story with this one?
I was at a girlfriend's house and she was studying, and I was just going through her CDs, and I came upon this one, and I listened to it just forever, over and over and over, and had, a absolute, like, it changed me completely. It dissolved my ego quite a bit.
Why do you say that?
Because it was like, like these are it was, again, like, back to the craftsmanship. I was like, this is craftsmanship. It's undeniable. These are amazing melodies. This is incredible orchestration. Like, everything about this, because I was making, like, really aggressive music pre this, like, screaming my head off. Like post punk. Like, really aggressive, crazy, a little bit mathy, and I was like, no, these guys know what they're doing. So I stopped screaming. I started completely writing differently after this, and was just, just became like a student more so.
Okay. It's this was a fascinating listen for me because when I was little, my dad had a collection of 8 tracks in his van, and my mom, she just had AM radio, so it was like all oldies all the time.
Totally.
And then moving to classic rock.
Yeah.
And in both of those lanes, I got fed a lot of Beatles.
Yeah.
But it's like Lucy in the Sky and Penny Lane and sort
Exactly.
of these
The classics.
Yeah, and then I got a couple of best of these 3 years and these, and it was long collections of songs. So really expanded a lot in terms of what I had known previously. But very seldom have I just taken a Beatles album. I mean, I've listened to the White Album a bunch and put it on. So this obviously there's some stuff on there that most folks know, but there's a lot on there that folks
totally don't know.
And so it was like almost like undiscovered material for me, and so it made it a really fun listen.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Now if there's 13 others, are you versed in all of them? Do you know the library pretty darn well?
Yeah.
Other favorites?
I mean, Revolver is also very good.
Okay.
I like things generally that are like bam, concise, like get to it. Like give me
there's
give
some
me a
like
steak dinner now.
2-minute, 12-second run times.
Killing. Like, and so like my favorite song, I think like the ultimate song is Nature Boy by Nat King Cole.
Okay.
Right. And it's 2 minutes and 32 seconds. And it's just like, it's so concise. It's such a simple story.
Huh.
Has so much depth to it. The orchestration is unbelievable. The melody's so good. Like, everything about it is just like, oh my god, this is it's so alluring.
Cool.
It's so good. So anyways, it's like, yeah, all of these, 218, Run for Your Life.
Yeah.
And there's just like so many moods in this record,
Absolutely.
But yeah, like, I mean, I've I studied them big time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I usually in the car and here, if I'm in the kitchen or whatever, most of the time I'm just rolling around on shuffle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that was the case coming home just a little bit ago with my daughter, and Silly Love Songs came on.
Yeah.
I mean, I had goosebumps again. I love that song as if it were my third child.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
right on, man.
The message.
Yeah.
The popcorn bass.
For sure.
I mean, the harmonies.
Yeah.
And it just really, they all had stuff outside of the insane phenomenon that they were as a foursome.
It's crazy, yeah.
And it really, just additional fun layers.
Yeah, McCartney's amazing,
dude. It's crazy.
Yeah, but what's wrong with that? I'd like to know, because here we go again. It's like,
how
what?
can I tell you about my loved one?
Yeah. It's so good though, because it's just like, it's like, oh, here's this journey that we're going to, and then now we're here,
And then just the
it's so
beautiful
good.
brass.
It's so
beautiful
great.
brass.
Yeah.
Well, so a short leap forward to 1972. Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway.
Yeah.
10 tracks, 42 minutes, 18 records for her, 4 for him. But this collaboration is special for you.
Yeah.
He's coming out of Chicago and St. Louis, North Carolina for her. This one's been a go-to for you and your wife.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story there?
We just listened to, when we first got together, we listened to this record a lot.
Did I already ask you how you guys met?
Yeah, through that album.
Right.
I needed an alto, and a mutual friend introduced us.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we listened to this song a lot. That "Baby I Love You" song we covered, and everything we learned. And both of them, both of them are just amazing singers. They're amazing, And then it's just like, I mean, and then again, it's super moody.
Yeah.
This album's like crazy moody.
It's moody within sort of the constraints of chill. Like there's a lot of mellow.
Totally.
But yes, yeah. And so, did you guys are listening to this when you first met because somebody had it? Or
yeah, she did.
She did.
Like her mom had a great record collection.
Oh, nice.
And what was great is both of I inherited my mother's.
I was just gonna ask,
record
are they
collection.
still around?
And this is what was great. Yeah, exactly. We've merged them, and what was funny is how many of the same records they had.
What'd you do with those duplicates?
We kept them. Crazy people. No, I got rid of most of the duplicates. We kept hers. But yeah, they did the same thing. They would write their name in the top right-hand corner.
Stop.
Yeah, for real.
Whoa.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? So they had so many of the same records.
Are we talking hundreds since the merge?
Oh yeah, I mean I've definitely gotten rid of a ton of records, and I inherited my grandparents' records, right? And then I was I was always on the hunt for records. Like I had way too many, because before records became hip again,
right?
You could go to any thrift store,
$2.
talk about the flea market.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got so many records.
Nice.
Like, Revolver, Rubber Soul, I got there, So, yeah, I mean, it just, yeah. So anyways, we listened to this record like on vinyl, like a ton.
Cool.
Yeah.
How did you guys arrange when you did merge?
What do you mean, the records like in order or something like that? I put everything by genre.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Mr. I love everything. I don't care about anything.
Well, no, I mean, because I know that genre represents moods.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
And so again, it's not, I don't pay kind of credence to it, but as somebody who is like really on the outside all the time in like all of social life, it didn't
On the outside.
yeah, just like like I growing up, there's just so many like strange things in my life that it made me always like, I'm on the outside of this.
Like an outcast?
Not an outcast, I wouldn't say that. It's just that like I know for a fact that I'm like, because of experiences that I've had, there's a litany of them, that made my perspective
I'm sorry.
very different.
On the outside, meaning you don't have the same lens that a lot of folks share.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing things different.
Yeah.
And so other people's experiences, I cannot share that.
Right.
I know that I can't because of the way I'm seeing things. I mean, for instance, you take someone from like whatever, a Muslim community, you put them in a Catholic church, they're not going to feel Catholic.
But if you just dunk their head in a little bit of water and draw the cross, maybe they will.
You can perform whatever you want, but that is not how you're gonna feel.
Just being silly.
I know, but you know what I mean. And so there's a lot of performances that we all do, trying to be part of something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And most of the time, I feel like it draws us farther away from ourselves.
So within your collection, do you have albums by a particular artist in different genres?
No, because it's generally, like Dylan's in folk,
Yeah.
things are like this is in soul.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
but there are, this just the first one that comes to mind, Wilco.
Mm-hmm. I don't have any Wilco.
No. Okay. I mean, I don't either.
I would put that in Americana though.
Interesting. I don't have any Wilco either, but a lot of Wilco records have made people's lists. Mm-hmm. So most of them have been first listens.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's intentionally.
I think that there's rock-ishness.
Okay.
Right? I think that there's country-ishness.
Okay.
But I would always say that this is definitely Americana.
Okay.
There's like sad boy emo-ishness. But it always comes back down to like, like really the imprint for me is that. And the thing, back to the genres and everything else, I do believe it's like I want to exemplify the way I feel, or I want to change the way I feel is a good way to go about selecting genres.
So I've brought this up a couple times too, but only because I just watched it for the first time. High Fidelity.
Yeah.
The notion of organizing your record collection based on your chronological discovery.
Mm-hmm. No.
Exactly.
How are you gonna find it? But when you really want, it's like that's too much catalog.
No hesitation. No,
not at all.
That's hilarious.
And that's the other thing too, is by alphabetical. Therefore, then it's just like, so I'm more of like, oh, I want this mood.
See, I'm alphabetical. Mm-hmm. Like, historically speaking, I mean, like that's how my books are.
Yeah.
Because it. Like
that makes sense.
In theory,
yeah.
If there is a particular, I can get to it quickly. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
But music seems to be so much like faster digestible kind of thing than something written, and so it becomes like, oh, like like I want to have dinner with my family or whatever, and like I want to feel like up and nice or whatever, but I want it chill, and so it's just like, then it's going to, I don't want something where I have to concentrate necessarily on the lyrics, or whatever. That kind of like meaning, textual meaning is going to like infiltrate my mind,
sure.
And so it's like, okay, cool, jazz is going to be good, like Latin jazz, oh, perfect, Dizzy Gillespie, and you know what I mean, like something like that.
Herb Alpers, time to get out the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, exactly. But that's too up, so maybe more of like a, you know what I mean, like a samba kind of thing. Yeah. And so that's what I'm looking for.
You have a copy of Santana's Moonflower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. dude, yeah.
I don't even know what that is. I want to go to a different place
Oh, dude.
in the world. Anyway.
He was.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was.
That's awesome. So leaping ahead to 82, Thriller,
My birth
Michael
year.
Jackson. Hey, we're celebrating.
Yeah.
6th of 10, 9 tracks, 42 minutes. Only the second appearance for this record by the King of Pop. Shouts out to Jason Bice from episode 66 who had it on his list. The way that Thriller arrived in my life, I mean, I think for a lot of folks it's impossible to avoid.
Should be.
But so my folks split in like, I don't know, 79, 80, something like that. They both quickly remarried. And the dude my mom married immediately got transferred. So we moved to a suburb of Atlanta. And when we finally are in the house that we're going to live in for a good bit, it was a new build. And we had cable. Yeah. Which never before and really never after. That marriage was a pretty short one too. Yeah. But it was 1981, 82. We were there for 3 years. And that was literally the birth of MTV. Yeah, dude. And you got Beat It and Billie Jean and Thriller. And I mean, and then we had a vinyl copy of it that we would listen to. Yep. So it was, I mean, of course, it's an incredible work of art. But it was just, he was just it was like him and Madonna, you know, just
exactly. Two-headed beast of pop.
Yeah. So, you know, I can't, no matter how hard you shake that sketch, it's in there.
It's in there.
But what about you? How did it come into your?
I mean, Thriller just like, you know, like I loved dancing, you know, when I was a kid. And like I said, I taught myself how to break dance.
Yeah.
You know, well, like literally from breaking.
I was just talking about breaking to Electric Boogaloo.
Exactly.
Which was weird because
Boogaloo
that thing came out and it was around, it was getting play. I would see it and I was always like, why? This is a sequel. Where's the first one? Yeah. It's like the first one missed out on this wave that got all this attention and energy.
Yeah, totally.
But the sequel, anyway.
Yeah. But I love dancing, and so it was just, you know, this was just like that kind of, again, like back to that visceral feeling of music, you know, like you know, literally moving you, you know, and so there's just jams on this. It's just, and Thriller's just like, wow, what an art piece, you know, that is. So
this was also nearing the tail end of the time when my mom would decide for me what I was going to be for Halloween.
Oh God, yeah.
And one year,
Michael
Jackson, the absolute worst.
You got the glove,
dude. So I had this Jackson 5 70s fro-y kind of. It was like in between what he's rocking there and the fro, a glove, and just like a peach sweater with white pants.
Nice.
The glove, and to top it off, blackface.
Oh God. Mom didn't know.
Well, it was 1982.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, she didn't know. And it's like, yeah, exactly.
I'm so freaking thankful that there are like very few pictures of that.
That's something that you'd have to like, you put it away, you know, and you go to a safe, you know, like in the Amazon.
Two people have to turn.
you open it up and you just like get a giggle once a year and you put it away.
Yeah. Let me snap that. No
cameras. You're frisked. You know, you have to go in there naked. It's
oh my God.
It's hermetically sealed.
So ridiculous.
It's in the Vatican, you know. It's it's buried in the Vatican. Yeah. It's the next national treasure.
Unreal. What a fascinating dude, though.
Oh God, yeah. All of them, everybody on this track, all the musicians, like, it's a really crazy time. Like, it was wild listening to so many of the making of.
I mean,
stuff.
For sure, and it's almost like you know, the birthplace of not that it didn't happen before, but it was like the first time that I was aware that folks were featuring. I mean, you got Eddie Van Halen playing the solo, the guitar solo. You got Paul McCartney on The Girl Is Mine, and Quincy Jones produced this record. I mean,
Bruce Swedian was the engineer.
There you go. I mean, it's like just massive.
Yeah, dude.
And worth all the massiveness because it's...
Eddie was on a solo.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they brought in everybody. And yeah, it's just.
What about Bad and Dangerous or anything that came before, or do you?
I like all. I mean, I'm a big fan of all of it.
Okay.
Pretty much. I just like again like I like I'm a big fan of melodies. I also think that what's so cool about this is like to me it's when pop music became like literally minor. And like more dangerous sounding. Like literally.
What do you mean minor?
Minor keys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like this became like a changeover, and then it was like it set the tone for like a different like level. Because at most, it's like a ton of like pop was like very major key.
Okay.
And this flipped everything and was like, oh
wow.
No, we're gonna make dancey, very not disco. Disco is very major key. We're gonna suddenly go to this minor realm, and it's gonna sound like dangerous sounding. Like
cool.
James Bondish, like
there you
crazy.
Go. I was
you know what I mean?
Feeling a little shy to ask for an example, but that's a great one.
That's a great one, right? You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
Ba-da, ba-da, yeah.
Nice. So shortly forward to 1991 with the aforementioned Nevermind by Nirvana, second of 3, 12 tracks, 42 minutes. This one's made a couple or three lists, but you talked to me about your buddy playing Come As You Are and that sort of springboarding you into your relationship with guitar and music. There's a lot that we could talk about as far as this record's concerned. But I wondered if do you have an opinion on Bleach and In Utero as well? Or
I loved Bleach.
You do?
I loved In Utero. I liked Incesticide.
Okay. I mean, they're all kind of, they're obviously all Nirvana, but they're very different.
Unplugged is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody had Unplugged on a list not too terribly long ago, and in getting ready for that, I learned, God, the name's escaping me. One of the most famous tracks from that record was a Bowie cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Man Who Sold the World.
Thank you, Jesus. All of these years, I was just like, that's the Nirvana song. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh my God. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
So, but Nevermind and Come As You Are sort of your intro to them. What else on this record is a big love for you?
Territorial Pissings was like the most like, whoa.
Is that I don't care?
No. It's that's Breed.
Okay. Yeah.
God, now the melodies.
Sorry.
God damn it, I cannot think about it now for some reason. But no, it's the most aggressive, most punk rock. And so it was like it's like one of those things like where Beatles was like Helter Skelter.
Yep.
And then it becomes, the next level up from that, because they were it was actually my generation. I feel like the aggressive music that they really
The Who? Okay.
My generation, and that the Beatles were answering them. They were answering my generation with Helter Skelter. They were like, "Oh yeah, watch what we do now."
They do. The Who does there's some weird vocal stuff in that track.
Exactly.
Where I remember being like, did somebody accidentally nudge a button in
Yeah.
the studio? Like, are they trying to do?
Right,
And
yeah.
they were.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And so the Beatles answered that with Helter Skelter.
yeah, exactly. And then you think like just the lineage of these things. Anyways, I just think that it was like, to me, like, whoa, this was like the angriest, like aggressive, screaming song
Yeah.
I'd ever, heard. And so, and at that point I was very rage filled,
Well,
you know.
you started off with Dookie. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. You know what
there's
I
only
mean?
one direction for you to go.
Exactly, yeah. And so, and like I said, I was like, it's that teenage, like, I'm super involved with my ego, trying to whatever prove things to myself, prove things to the world, et cetera, et cetera. Feeling insecure, making up for that,
Yeah.
et cetera. And this I think like angry music in general kind of like gives you the sense of overpowering that which is keeping you fearful. You know what I mean?
So this,
But In Bloom is so good.
yeah, it is.
So good.
This, I mean, it wasn't that long ago that it celebrated its 30. There was a big deal about the 30-year anniversary of this record.
Yeah.
How do you think that it has aged for you personally? Does it still have the pizzazz? No.
I wish that this is what I mean, people would be so angry or whatever, but I'm like, I wish he would have gotten the courage to just sing, because there's such good melodies.
Instead of sort of
Scream.
strain and scream. Okay.
Yeah, because like, yeah, they're wonderful melodies, and he'd always like poo-poo. Like, I've seen all these interviews, I read books and blah blah blah, and he would always like kind of shit on musicianship and all these different things. But I was like, no, you're a craftsman. You're embarrassed. You're embarrassed about how craftsmanship makes you feel. The seriousness in which you take it.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you would have just sang, people would have gone, oh wow, these are great melodies, because it became too much of like, he's an icon. And so that's still like what everyone has gravitated to. And in fact, I think that like, the how, things that he had said of like, being so fame and everything else being so cumbersome, and he'd always talk about how he would like hate his fans,
Yeah.
like that they became the jocks, and everything else that he didn't like. And so I think that if he would have just really taken himself serious as an artist and not been so obsessed with that self-destruction, that
Interesting.
we could have heard better music. I think there could have been really cool things, to come from him, because he's a great musical mind.
Yeah.
But he did not honor it.
Interesting.
So other people honor him in the icon, in the kind of like glamorization of self-destruction. You know? And they don't really be like, that's a pity, because he was a great musical mind.
Well, it's interesting that was your answer. And I asked it because In Utero was on somebody's list, and I put that on for a listen to get ready for that episode. And I was like, there's kind of a lot on here that I don't really care for.
Yeah.
And that's just like what you were doing when you were first, all of that screaming and it's just never really been for me. Now there's some wrinkles of it that I enjoy.
I understand, yeah.
But at the same time, there's some tracks, and it's really hits or pop, whatever, on In Utero that are beautiful, that I really love. Yeah, so I finished listening to it, and I Bleach and Incesticide have never really been that my bag, but I felt bad after listening to In Utero for not and I was like, I need to go back and listen to Nevermind to sort of recharge that battery. And I was like, I had a lot of music as a young kid, but I mean, when Pearl Jam 10 and this came out, I mean, I listened to those a lot until they were hardwired in. And I was like, this is crazy. This is a new direction of music and grunge or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And so I listened to Nevermind again, and I was like, I definitely don't love it like I used to.
No, not at all.
Which that made me feel worse.
Really?
I'm like, I'm just because I was trying to repair the in utero
Yeah,
feelings.
no, you shouldn't.
And then I was like, I'm such a shitbag. Like,
No, dude.
Because people love Nirvana.
So?
Like I said, I got life unpacked and I can see the shit. I haven't done anything with it yet.
I'm
It's
just saying, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I like, for all I know, like, like a lot of, the self-destructive things in pop culture in general, right, are just like CIA ops. I don't know. But I know that a lot of people didn't make it out, and they thought it was because of the music, but I think it was just an easy access into a cult. Like when you listen to really aggressive, angry punk rock music or anything else, I mean, it's like you don't have to be really great at an instrument,
That's why power chords and screaming can be done by a lot more folks than
Yeah.
what Paul McCartney produced, for the sake of an easy example.
So that's my whole thing is, again, back to the craftsmanship. It's like, hate on whatever, but if you cannot do that, then you might want to have an appreciation for it.
Yeah.
If you can't do it, but I know like tons of children can do exactly that, scream, and just like wail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
it
it really becomes like it's an easy barrier to entry kind of cult. It's about what I don't like a lot of the times. Right? Not what I love, it's about, and everything is reactionary. It's like, I don't like this, so I'm going to be like, meh.
Yeah.
And it's really infantile.
Yeah. Which is, the sort of the, birthplace of corporate rock sucks. Dude, or whatever.
All of that.
Yeah.
All of that, like, I should feel bad about liking, like guilty pleasures is dumb. Like, that is dumb. That is, I'm afraid to say the uncool thing. And it's like, who dictates cool? It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
It means nothing.
Right.
And so it's just, and that's why I think it's like back to like a visceral thing. It's just like, yeah, like, do I want to surround myself with some dude screaming out of speakers all the time? No, I don't.
Right.
And some of these are really, really great melodies. And I've sung them apart from it and just played, like finger picked a guitar or whatever, to some of this stuff. I've rearranged in Bloom, like with brass and everything else, and it sounds great.
I bet.
You know what I mean? It sounds really good, and so compositionally, like, it's there. But it was just like this kind of like meh that took. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
And it's just like, it's like, come on, dude. Sorry.
No, absolutely. No room for apologies.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff, though. There's a lot of details that I geek out about when it comes to the lists that people give me. One of them is sort of looking at time frame. I mean, I've had people give me a list of 5 records, and they all are from 82 and 83 because they're into like that kind of pop or whatever.
Right.
And fairly often people have a decent range. But I don't think anybody has had quite the, I don't want to say cookie cutter.
Right.
But really broad range and really touching on a lot of important moments in, I don't want to just say American music, but the music that we are exposed to.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Oh. Well.
And so.
Yeah, I don't even like this record anymore. You know what I mean? It just when I have to pick something, I'm gonna go like, what were pivotal things in my life?
So we've done 65 with the Beatles and 72 with Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway, 82 with Thriller, 91 with Nevermind, and then all the way to 2016, Malibu, Anderson Paak. Second of 4, 16 tracks, 61 minutes. I was in St. Louis 5 or so years ago. Went down with a buddy to see some shows, and we stayed with a buddy of his who just, I mean, we went out, and the dude that I went with is a general manager of a bar and restaurant, and the dude who we connected with used to work for him in a bar and restaurant. 20 years. I actually worked for this dude too, so a lot of service industry years amongst the three of us.
Yeah.
Which, generally speaking, there's a pretty healthy collection of bad decisions.
Oh yeah.
And poor self-care in that mix. So the three of us being out for the night was like already primed, but the kid who lived there drove so insanely aggressive, like 50 and 60 miles an hour down residential streets, just blowing through stop signs. And that we went to like 5 or 6 places. So every time we were like tabbing out, I was like, wait, get in that guy's fucking car again and probably die. I don't know how we didn't, but what we listened to the whole night was Make It Better by Anderson .Paak and Smokey Robinson. And that probably kept me sane. I'd never heard of Anderson .Paak before. And it was like the smoothest, dope beats, real, genuine, tender, human relationship stuff in there. Obviously, Smokey makes everything cool when you throw him in the mix.
So smooth.
And I was like, I'm so embarrassed that I don't know who this dude is. And, mental note, I'm going to go down the rabbit hole and become informed. Never have done it. I think I have a couple, I've put a couple records in my collection, but I've never.
You shouldn't feel embarrassed, though. There's so much.
Fair. Thank you. So, all that to say, this was my first full album listen of his, and I had an expectation based on that experience. And it blew it away. Just, a never before kind of blend of different flavors of cool, and
it's great.
So what's your intro story to him, and why did this one earn a spot on your list?
I mean, I'm constantly listening to new music all the time. And so he just came up on my radar, I don't even know how, I'm not sure exactly. But I think it was just like when this album came out, and, I heard a review or something like that, maybe that's kind of coming to mind.
Interesting.
And then, I was like, oh, check this out, and I was like, yes, this album is amazing. And
real good vibes.
Yeah, I just I mean, The Bird is incredible. Like, everything it starts to hit. Like, The Season, Carry Me is just like, wow. And it's great, It's like a very, this was a fearless record. That's what I feel.
Well, nobody was making shit like this in 28 years ago I know of.
No, and I mean, just like the artwork and everything else, it's like right up my surrealist collage alley.
Sure.
And and then I saw the NPR with him, and I was like,
Tiny
oh
Desk?
my God. Yeah, the Tiny Desk.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And he just killed it. He's such a great drummer,
He drums?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's incredible. And that, I mean, that's the thing. It's how, he's singing and everything else while he's playing. He's such a good drummer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you know why he does what does he do? He puts like a
dot.
Yeah,
Paak.
but it's like space dot and then no space Paak.
I have no. I mean, this is the other thing about me. I don't really look into the artists very much at all anymore. I don't even.
But
care.
you are, at the very least, being a vinyl guy.
Yeah.
You do.
I see
appreciate
it.
album artwork, liner notes.
I see it and I go, that was an artistic choice.
Of
That's
course.
all I can think.
Yeah.
So whatever his reason or whatever, it's got to be artistic. I think Paak is his wife's name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna, even though you just said you don't look into the artist, he does more than just music, right? I don't recall exactly what, but I remember being like, oh man, this dude's talented on a number of levels.
Yeah, I just know him as a producer and a drummer.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
don't know much about any of the other stuff. You know, the little things that I get anymore are just like strange things that just like kind of like, you know, it's
Find
like,
their way to you.
yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like I don't read any celebrity mags, but every time I get groceries, I have to find something out about Ben Affleck. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always there on
like,
the end caps.
There, oh my God.
Yeah.
No matter what I choose not to see, there it is.
What about his other 3 records? Have you poked into those at all, or?
The collab with Bruno, Silk Sonic, that's good. You know, it's like it's like classic throwback.
Huh.
You know, like, you know, late 70s.
Okay.
You know, early 80s throwback.
Interesting.
And it's great. But you know, it was nothing like this.
Okay.
Like everything that he's done is just like, to me, never matched.
Well, this is one of those where, because I really hope that the album lives on, because, you know, these days all of our shit's just digital, and we just drop singles, and so you don't get the have and the hold, and so making my way through this, I was like, man, 3, 4 tracks in, 5 tracks in, like, when are we going to get to the shitty songs?
Yeah.
Because not everything's going to be great on this record.
Yeah.
There's like track 16's wrapping up, and I'm like, in
It's
this
great.
chair,
Yeah.
listening to it with these cans, and I want to like fucking stand and go,
dude.
be like,
Exactly.
yo,
yeah,
you killed that.
He killed it, dude. He killed it. Yeah, and especially all the cool, like, little, like, you know, inserts of, like, you know, like Surfer, you know, where there's like that guy talking about on nearly drowning, you know, and they have this other thing. I think it sounds like Matthew McConaughey, but you know, he's
All
like
right,
pain.
all right.
He's like, yeah, he says something like, you know, it's like, what kind of pain do you like? Any kind of pain. You know, and then he goes right into the next track.
Have you seen many of the Between Two Ferns?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I love Zach Galifianakis.
I was just talking about
Yeah.
this yesterday, and like just launching into the McConaughey with,
It's so good.
I see you're wearing a shirt. Is everything okay?
Yeah. You know, it's like the a sack that's somewhere not being hacked.
And then he asks about the film you made with Woody Harrelson. What was the daily marijuana budget on that film?
Exactly.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, Zach, he's great. He's a great guy.
And I mean, there's a bunch that I love, but the other one that always makes me laugh so hard is the who's the dude from Mad Men that was also
Don Draper.
Okay, so
or not John Hamm.
John
Yeah.
Hamm.
Yeah.
So he. So Don Draper's suit is in the Smithsonian. He's like, yeah, right next to the Cosby Square.
Yeah, exactly.
John Hamm just loses his shit.
Loses it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's wonderful.
There's a gal, I don't remember which gal. He says, this is a 2-parter.
Yeah.
I understand that you don't like to answer very personal questions. Is that true? And if so, how old were you when you first got your period?
Yeah, exactly, dude. He's incredible.
Have you seen Live at the Purple Onion?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody would make comedy like that.
No, he's totally unique. You
Well,
know?
this is a really fun list. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
I like to do some rapid fire goofy questions, and then we'll wrap and get you out of here.
Yeah.
So if we can imagine or pretend that everybody has a personal and a professional bucket list. Mm-hmm. Let's say you're given all the necessary resources to knock out your number one on both of those lists. Mm-hmm. What would they be?
Ooh, personal and professional. Mm-hmm. Okay, professional. I'd be like working with somebody,
cool,
you know, who I'd like to work with.
Nice. Making art,
you know, produce music with, or something like that. I would, you know, I think that I would love to make, God, a record maybe with like Kimbra.
I know that name vaguely.
Yeah, she's a really talented artist. She's done some like really really great stuff.
Okay.
So she's like yeah, she's just super super talented. And like is all of her albums are like very different. She really goes to some incredible places. Yeah.
If you owned all of her records, would they all be in the same genre on your
Yeah,
your
pop.
shelves? Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
I
All
would
right.
classify her as
Okay,
pop.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Are your guys' records in a room that's more or less
Dining room.
oh, okay.
Yep.
And then you have a plugged in and operating turntable,
We listen to records every morning.
and
Listen to Stevie Wonder this morning.
oh, okay. I thought you were going to say every morning. I was like, that's interesting.
No.
Which
It's always
Stevie?
different. Intervisions.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
And then this turntable connected to speakers just in that room, or are there speakers elsewhere in the house?
Just in that one room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so your personal?
Personal bucket list. It would have to be like hiking. Banff with my family, with my two kids and my wife.
You got kids too? Okay.
Yep.
How
two
old are they?
girls, 10 and 7.
10 and 7. Very fun.
Yeah.
God, it's so
awesome.
silly that part of the human experience, and specifically parenthood, when you enter into that realm, everybody says, cherish it. It goes so fast, and you're like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, they're 10 and 7. You're like, what the fuck? This is not. It does. It goes so fast.
So fast, dude. So fast.
You're given the ability to have lunch with anyone of your choosing, dead or alive. Who and why?
I would have to go either with my wife's mother.
Okay.
Comes to mind. She passed, and unfortunately I never got to meet her.
Oh man.
And she was a really amazing woman, and it just seems like, oh man, we would have really gotten along. She would have really gotten me, I think.
Cool.
She was like very much an outsider. She was very, artistic and like just
Outsider in that perspective thing.
Yeah, in the perspective. Yeah, exactly. And so, just the way, she saw the world, her experiences, like how, I think that in general, like when you have several like amalgams of social life in your head, it's like you can't adapt to one to become part of the thing. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you said your parents are divorced.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you can understand, right, what it's like being like just growing up with like mom and dad are still around and still very much in love. So the way you see that nuclear family is very different.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like
I keep going, for some reason, Sting and David Bowie are like popping into my head.
yeah, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
though? It's
yeah.
just like, it's like one of those things where it's just like, yeah, when you're from a broken home where it's like, and myself was too, I moved around a bunch or whatever,
This is home 24 for me.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah.
So see what I'm saying? Like you talk to somebody and it's just like, and they've like lived in whatever, their same place their whole life or whatever. It's they live differently. They see the world differently.
Yeah.
So if you have many of those amalgams in your head, there's no way you can just be like, I'm just comfortable.
Yeah.
Seeing the world and being like, oh yeah, we're all part of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
I got away from the tail end there of number one too quickly. Banff with your family.
Yeah.
Do you guys get out and do nature stuff?
I love my wife and I love hiking and everything. Like we are big. Like we went to Zion and
in Utah.
Yeah, exactly. And
we're gorgeous part of the world, country.
It just like comes at you. That's the thing about Zion. It's like certain like like we'll go to Colorado a bunch. Everything's like it's gentle.
Yeah.
I
did some backcountry in Dead Horse State Park.
Okay.
Just like I could not get away from the and there were weirdly there were planes flying over to Vegas, just tiny.
Yeah,
and everything
totally.
is so massive, and I just could not wrap my head around the fact that water,
dude.
and time made all this.
Yeah, exactly.
What there was water here?
Yeah, dude.
As high,
yeah, it's crazy. No, I mean it is, because it's like that's the thing is like, you know, and it is like certain landscapes like there is it's very specific effects, you know, on you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, Colorado is like it is very much like this, like, oh, this is so lush and beautiful, and I feel like warm, but like Zion is like, I'm coming at you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Slowly, I am the bones of the earth.
Yeah,
just looking down at you, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah,
it's an experience. So yeah, Banff. You know, it's like, you know, on part of my scrolling or whatever is like national parks.
Oh, nice.
You know, and so I every time I see Banff, I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy.
So the television show. The now defunct television show Fear Factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where,
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved Fear Factor.
So the absolute not for television, not for reality TV or for a contest or any, just what would be the absolute worst Fear Factor scenario for Jamie Searle to be thrust into?
Ah, man.
What's your heebie-jeebie Willie Acme?
I like critters.
Okay.
You know, so I'm not like, that doesn't really bother me, you know, and I can like, you know, pretty much like eat anything, you know, so that doesn't, but eating things crawling in my mouth, that sounds really not fun, you know, or anything that's like suffocation. I don't like that.
The place, sometimes people struggle with the answer to this, and where I always go immediately is Kill Bill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When
The
she
Buried
gets,
Alive, dude.
Fuck
that.
Or the other one is whatever that Titanic submarine.
Yeah, dude. The
like
depths.
There would be some people in there that would be like, all right, let's get to work on a solution. But first we have to kill that guy because he's losing his goddamn mind.
Exactly.
And he's going to be a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. All that, like every time I think about those astronauts stuck up there, and I'm like, no fucking way, dude. Like that does not appeal to me.
Have you seen Interstellar?
Oh yeah, dude.
When Matthew McConaughey first comes across NASA, and they've got the picture of the 12, and he says, "You sent probes into that?" He said, "We sent people into it," and there's some line about like we've heard from 3. And he's like, and the others? And the answer is, hence the bravery.
Yeah.
And I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, dude. 100%.
Who signs up for that?
No, you gotta be a maniac.
Yeah.
You gotta be a maniac. Like, I would never, I'm just like, I like Earth. I really like it.
So many ways. I like it in so many ways. Grass on my feet.
Dude, sun on my
face.
Breathing with the breeze.
Yeah.
Just...
I'm good. There's water here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I see food too. I'm totally good.
I'm just like, nah, don't put me
Hence
in that
the bravery.
tube. Don't put me in that tube.
Yeah. You're given the ability to visit your past self at any age you're choosing. What age are you choosing, and what are you saying?
Ooh, I would go back to when I'm a teenager listening to Nevermind.
Really?
Yeah, something right around there, and just be like, don't lie to yourself. That's what I would say. You will know exactly when you start lying to yourself. Don't do it. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Please complete this for me.
Yeah.
The world would immediately become a better place in which to live, if only.
The world would become a much better place to live, if only. Damn, that's good. I think if people were honest with themselves.
Okay. Don't lie to yourself. Yeah.
Don't lie to yourself.
Cool.
First, don't lie to yourself.
Did you listen all the way through Bill's?
No.
Okay. I think it was Bill's day.
I was doing the stairs, and so there was some of it I missed because saws.
Yeah, fair enough.
And me going up and down.
I think sometimes they all run together, but I'm pretty sure it was Bill's. And I asked, I've got a small list of questions that I'll rotate in and out of this thing, but I like some of them a lot.
I like
so
all
they
these
stay.
questions.
And I asked Bill one of my favorites, and I mean, no hesitation. He goes, "Hate the question," and then proceeded to answer. I don't remember. But I was like,
"Hate the question."
I love that question.
But that's what I love about Bill is that he'll just be like, boom.
Yeah.
That's what is great is like his answers will give you like a feeling that it's like this guy's being real.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
the Westport Bowery, Westport Bowery on Instagram, westportbowery.com.
The Westport Bowery.
The westportbowery.com is the website. Remind me of your
J Searle Music on Instagram.
J Searle Music.
I'm sorry, J Jerome.
J Jerome.
Yeah. J Jerome Music on Instagram. J Jerome Chromatic on TikTok. Yeah.
And the whole collection.
J Jerome and on Spotify. Exactly.
If somebody goes to your Spotify, will it be clear that this is your whole collection? You said
it is a playlist that says produced by J Jerome.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, does that mean that doesn't mean I've produced other people's stuff? It's your stuff.
No, it's both.
It's both. Mm-hmm. Okay. How many tracks are we talking?
A lot.
100?
At least.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
Very
a lot,
cool.
and like it is. It's all over the place.
Any other plugs?
No, just try to find what makes you happy.
Yeah. Anything that you had hoped that we would cover that we didn't?
Nah, man. No, this is great. I was just like, it's fun to meet people and
Absolutely.
to talk about things that you're passionate about.
Absolutely. This is a thing that largely was friends and family when I started.
Yeah.
And then it's spilled into this lane and a different lane and a different lane. And so point being, now by far, the majority of folks that have sat in that chair have been perfect strangers when I've opened the front door.
That's awesome.
It's a trip.
Well, so this has got to be, Bill's was 136 or something like that.
Okay.
And so you're on like what, probably 140-ish now?
I think 143 comes out Thursday.
That's amazing, dude.
I'm working through a little bit of a backlog, so
That's
it'll be
incredible.
A little bit before yours comes out.
No, I'm just saying that, like, for you, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Now, I always
do that consistently. It's awesome.
To keep things nice and round, I've had some guests do multiple episodes.
Yeah.
So I just lop 10 off of whatever, and then I've had that many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Come,
and
somehow I keep, finding strangers to pester.
Yeah, exactly.
On the internet.
No,
a percentage of them say yes, and a percentage of those show up and do it. And
100%.
As long as that's working.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and most, if not all the time, the person on the other end of the table tells me that they enjoy it too. So why the fuck not keep doing it?
Yeah, man. I think it's a good thing to, like I said, talk to strangers about, like what lights them up.
Absolutely.
And starting with music, like people have, like it's always it's such an easy go-to, to start to like see someone's inner workings,
Absolutely. Well, I couldn't have said that better myself.
Well, hey, you rob it, man. No credit needed.
Right.
Just take it.
Well, thank you very much. It was wonderful to meet you and chat. And
you too, man.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.